It's also the last day of the Paralympic Games, so logistically, somewhat of a nightmare because you're going to go from racing your longest race to packing up your stuff and getting out.
Lactic acid buildup, just sitting on a plane.
Yep, lactic, going to closing ceremony, probably still sweaty from the race, and then hopping on the 6 a.m. flight the next morning.
Joining us now, she's a track athlete, cross-country skier, and biathlete, currently competing in her third Paralympics. Born without her left hand and forearm, she goes by the social media handle, The One-Arm Dan, co-founder of media company Cultured, fan of hiking and horseback riding. She's got a cowboy boot sponsorship and sling stickers that say pizza, pasta, para, sport. It's the biathlon bandit, Dani Aravich. What's up, Dani?
What's up? That was a stellar intro. I'm glad you heard about the stickers.
I know, I'm jealous because my producer Alex and I were out there for the Olympics, but we couldn't stick around for the Paralympics, so we missed out on the stickers.
I'll save you one. Don't worry.
Okay. I love all of those things. You've already had a ton of success, a bunch of competitions under your belt already in Milan Cortina. You took 6th in the Para-Nordic Women's Classic standing, 10th in the Biathlon Women's Sprint standing, and 6th in Para-Biathlon Individual standing. Those 6th places are your best Paralympic showings yet. So what went well for you in those events?
Well, Sunday was the biathlon individual, and it was really exciting because I actually spent half the race in silver medal contention. But what's so crazy about the biathlon individual is for every miss on the biathlon range, it adds a minute of time. Mm-hmm. And I was shooting really well up until the last shot. Literally shot number 20 out of 20. I missed, so it added a minute, which took me out of contention. So It was exciting, I think, for everyone to get to experience, that I was in it. I was in it until that last shot, which is frustrating but exciting. And my big goal for the games was to make the classic final. I've traditionally not been the strongest classic skier. And in my only 6 years of cross-country skiing, I gravitated to the freestyle or skate technique more. So the fact that I even made a classic final was a huge deal for me.
I love that. In an alternate universe, that last shot hits and everybody gets to see you in silver all the way till the end. But I love that there was that excitement throughout the race and still a great finish for you. You've got the sprint pursuit and biathlon on Friday. So help us understand the big difference between that and the other biathlon events you've already done.
So this is a new format actually to the Paralympic Games and to our World Cups these past few years. It's basically a way we get head-to-head biathlon because everything else is interval start, so you versus the clock. And so we do a qualifier in the morning where it's, again, you versus the clock, very short distance. It's like less than 6 kilometers usually. You shoot twice. If you miss, you get 15-second added penalty. And then based off of your morning result, you actually come back in the afternoon, do the exact same race, but you're seeded head-to-head based on your morning. So you can't blow off the morning. You have to perform well, but you also know you're probably going to race again later that day. And it's one of the most exciting events. It's actually the event that I've had my World Cup individual podium in. So I'm really excited. It can go really well, or it can go really bad, really quick, which adds a lot of variability. And especially for a newer skier like me, it puts me in the mix a lot more, which is really exciting. And I think for people who are new to watching the Paralympics or new to watching biathlon, it's a great event to first tune into because it is head to head. It's exciting. There's pressure when you're coming into the range and someone's right behind you. Like, are you going to hit your shots and have to go to the penalty lap? Are they going to go clean? And it's just a fun event that we get to do. And it's new as well. So it'll be cool to see it done at the Paralympic Games. Yeah,
I do love how biathlon's like being a kid who acted out in gym class. Like, take a lap. That's it. Take a lap.
That's a great description.
Sorry, you're in trouble. Take a lap if you missed your shot. You've also got the 20K cross country interval start freestanding race, which just rolls right off the tongue. That's coming up on Sunday. Help us be smarter viewers for that event too. What should we be watching for?
The 20K is our longest race of the game. So for our race, we do 5 laps of 4 kilometers. So it's a pacing race. It's really easy for people to burn themselves out or go out too slow since you are doing so many laps. It's also the last day of the Paralympic Games. So logistically, somewhat of a nightmare because you're going to go from racing your longest race to packing up your stuff and getting out.
Lactic acid buildup, just sitting on a plane.
Yep, lactic, going to closing ceremony, probably still sweaty from the race, and then hopping on the 6 a.m. flight the next morning. So It'll be a long race. It will be, again, you versus the clock since it's the interval start. So you really have to pay attention to the time. And even if people pass each other during the race, it doesn't mean they're doing better than that person because there's factors involved too in para-cross country skiing. And so it's a long one, but hang on, hang in there. It's still worth watching.
You've been an athlete your whole life. You started out in soccer and basketball and softball and then track and cross country for a little bit in college at Butler. When did you first think like, oh, I want to look into the Paralympics and potentially making the U.S. team?
It actually wasn't until I was working my full-time job in professional sports. I was working for the Utah Jazz, and I was post-collegiately, hadn't been competitively running in a few years, and I just wasn't feeling as fulfilled as I hoped I'd be in my professional career. And so I started doing some research on the Paralympics, met a family who was from the same hometown as me back in Boise, Idaho, whose daughter was starting on the Paralympic track and field circuit. And she encouraged me to try it out, to look into it, help me figure out some races, some coaching. And I just started training on the side while working a full-time job, which was really difficult. And through that training, I got asked to try cross-country skiing in late 2019 at a camp in Breckenridge, Colorado. And that's when I first tried cross-country skiing. And for anyone who hasn't cross-country skied, it's a really technically challenging sport. And most of my competition has grown up doing the sport. So starting it in my mid-20s was very late to the game. And so I'm still playing catch up to girls who are a lot younger than me, but they've been skiing a lot longer than me. And, it kind of created this new dream for me. Like I didn't have this dream growing up because I didn't really know much about Paralympics, didn't know I fit the bill to compete in the Paralympics. And so I developed this new dream just about 6 years ago, and I've already gotten 2 games now in my third, and have really shifted also professionally my business career from working in pro sports to now working in Olympic and Paralympic sports, which has been really rewarding to see it from both the athlete side and the business side.
Yeah, I mean, you're picking it up pretty quick. You made your Paralympic debut at the Summer Paralympics in 2021, running the 400 meters on the track, and then quick COVID turnaround, you were making your Winter Paralympic debut just 6 months later, which is crazy. What do you think 3-time Paralympian Dani knows that rookie Dani didn't?
Ooh, great question. I think that 3-time Paralympian Dani knows how much stuff you get now. Because when you roll into your first games, you're like, oh yeah, I heard you get some free gear.
I brought a duffel.
From the Nike. Nike, Ralph Lauren. I overpacked so much for that first Paralympics with nutrition products, with clothes to wear. And quickly I realized I didn't need any of it. So this winter, though, has been unique because we had a full World Cup season leading into the games. So I've actually been in Europe for almost 2.5 months now. So I did have to have enough before the Paralympics to survive me through Europe for these few months. So I was still probably seemingly overpacked, but it was just because I needed to.
It was worth it.
First 2 months.
Yeah. Well, and this year you don't just get your, clothes and stuff. You get $200K over the course of your lifetime from that new donor. How nice is that?
Mm-hmm. It's, incredible. The biggest thing for me, going from working professionally to trying this Paralympic career out was I lost all the typical benefits someone has from a full-time job between your salary and your 401k and, life insurance policies through your companies. And so that was one of the biggest gambles I had to take when I started competing was giving up all of that financial security. And the fact that, with the Ross Stevens Award now, we get that security of a retirement plan, a life insurance policy is huge. I was actually in Milan for the Olympic Games for a couple days during one of my off weeks and got to meet Ross Stevens, who's the donor. And it was really cool to be able to shake his hand in person and say, thank you from Team USA athletes. This is going to be really life altering for a lot of our athletes who don't have these traditional, career paths. And so all of those benefits have never really been a reality.
When you look at your first Summer Olympics and now this is your second winter, vibes wise, is there a big difference between summer and winter games?
Summer and winter games are vastly different. First off, the number of athletes. So the winter games, just the reality is they're smaller, there's less sports. And also with the winter games, all the villages are really spread out. So in my Summer Paralympics, all of the sports were there for Tokyo, I believe, except cycling because they were in a different part of Japan. But for the Winter Games, we're so spread out. So we're the only sport in this Prodazzo village, cross country and biathlon. And to a certain degree, then you're like, it kind of feels like any other competition because it's the same people you see all 4 years in between. And it's just very different in that sense. But I do love the Winter Games. I think the winter stories, I mean, just like some of the countries too that emerge in the winter space, like right now, what's really cool is El Salvador is having a moment. They developed a para-cross country ski program. Like they obviously don't have snow to be skiing on, so they're skiing on the beach and using sand.
I saw
as
that
like their
video.
resistance. Yeah.
Now, you bring your own special flair. You're not training on sand, but you do wear cowboy boots to every race. I know you can't give your sponsorship a shout out because of Rule 40 while you're during the games, but everyone go to Dani's Instagram and make sure you go check it out. Give that sponsor a little bit of love. But I'm wondering if you've got any sort of style icon when it comes to cowboy boots, like anyone who's got a great boot game or that you look to see how they're styling them. Because I just got my first pair of cowboy boots in Austin and I'm having a little trouble like figuring out how to wear them. Like, I don't know. It feels like here in Chicago, I don't know how to style them.
I feel like what's cool right now is that Western fashion is having a moment. Like you're seeing a lot of big brands, even in high fashion, like to do some Western inspired pieces, which is really fun. But I mean, I think Reba, she's a country Western star, but like Reba always has a great boot game. But yeah, I think, that was something too, like for a long time, I grew up riding horses. I'm trying to get back into it now. But for a while there, like I went to college in the Midwest. And I wanted to wear my cowboy boots and I felt like a phony. Like, I can't wear these here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah. But then you realize, like, actually, I can wear whatever
you can wear them anywhere.
And it's, cowboy boots are universal. My significant other, Eric, he's in Europe for the first time here watching the Paralympic Games. And he's wearing his cowboy boots all over Italy. So
I love it.
You too can wear them in Chicago.
Okay, I'm taking that vote of confidence into the spring whenever it arrives, because it sure ain't cowboy boot time yet here in Chicago. You mentioned that you're working in the Paralympic and Olympic space. You started this company, co-founded a media company called Cultured, helping to change the way the world views parasport. And you're working with fellow athletes like Brenna Huckabee. How did working for the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee impact your decision to actually start your own shop?
It was actually in the build-up to the Paris Paralympic Games where I knew I'd be going to Paris, actually working for Team USA, really worked on the digital media team and was helping kind of launch our creator program, which is where we would bring influencers, athletes to come and create content on behalf of the Team USA brand. And just in the build-up, like I noticed in the greater media space, there wasn't a ton of coverage about some of the like marquee World Cups or international competitions or trials events. And so I started posting videos kind of on my own social channels. And Brenna reached out to me. One of our other co-founders, Ryan Neiswinder, who was a gold medalist in wheelchair basketball, reached out and was saying, I want to do something for the bigger movement. And not only are there Paralympic sports that also occur all 4 years, it's not just during the games time. There's also elite para sports that are not in the Paralympics that have really, well-developed competitions internationally. How can we do something? And we didn't really know what to do other than we got to do something. And so we started with a social channel and have tried to build it out into, web and some editorial work, merchandise. We actually just worked on our first featured documentary, trying to tell a Paralympic story. And so it's been really, really special to get to do it alongside athletes who understand it because they've lived it. And our goal really is to convert every sports fan into a Paralympic sports fan.
I love it. It's called Cultured with an X, CULXTURED.
Ignore the X when you pronounce it.
Kind of like Together, TOGE. Yeah. There's a women's sports company called Together, also has an X floating in there. So it's very on brand. It's very of the moment. We could talk to you literally all day, but I know you have to run. So one last question for you. You mentioned that you're a Boise native. You're a professed big fan of Mountain West living, and you were actually a part of the bid process for the Salt Lake City Games for the Olympics and Paralympics to be there in 2034. So does that mean you're in it for the long haul, hoping to compete in your late 30s and be out there in Salt Lake?
I will be in Salt Lake City in 2034. In what capacity? I don't know yet. We'll have to see, We got to take it one game cycle at a time. And I know I'll be in the French Alps 2030, but we'll see where I'm at career-wise. But I'm really excited to work alongside the bid committee to really, try to bring home the best games we can put on. And it's such a unique games in the sense that with all these winter games, it's those remote villages, everything's spread out, but Salt Lake City is one athlete village. Everything's within an hour drive. So fans can access so many more events too. And so I think we'll be able to deliver great games. And we need to have a winter Paralympics that really redefines, culture and disability inclusion. And I think as the United States, we have a big opportunity here to try to promote the Paralympics like never before and try to promote winter para sports. So fingers crossed that we can accomplish those big goals in Salt Lake 34.
Yeah. Well, we'll both be there with our cowboy boots on. Whether you trade them out for skis every once in a while, we'll let your body and your brain decide that. Dani, it was so great to talk to you. Congrats on your success already. We really look forward to watching you this weekend.
Thank you so much.